Okay, so before I get to the Pete Hegseth stuff and something that's bothering me about what the GOP Senate is doing, I just wanted to address something quickly because it's something that is close to my heart. Maybe it's something close to your heart. It's certainly something I've talked about a lot on this show, and that's getting a reckoning of some kind for COVID, meaning punishment, some sort of punishment for the people in power, in government and otherwise, for the people in power who abused you, your liberties, your rights in the name of a bad chest cold from China. What happened to you, what happened to this country during COVID was criminal and it was evil. It was not okay. And we are not going to let people get away with, well, nobody knew. I'm not really, no. You don't get to burn down the house in order to kill a cockroach. And then when people say, why did you do that? Well, no one knew. Nope, absolutely not. You don't ever, for any reason, get to tell people they don't get to bury their loved ones. They don't get to go to work, that they can't feed their families. You don't get to do that for any reason. And that was done in this country. This country turned into an evil dictatorship during COVID. And look, are we ever going to get everything that we need, that we deserve as far as the reckoning goes? Of course not. No, we're not. But I'm starting to hear things that please me greatly. Remember what Rand Paul said here about Fauci?
You know, we've discovered that the government is still funding Anthony Fauci. He's retired, and yet the government spent $15 million on him last year, providing him with an armed security detail and a limo driver. So he's working at Georgetown, supposedly. Who knows how much they're paying him? Maybe $1 million. We know he got $1 million from a private foundation, but he has all of this money and this great personal wealth, and we're ferrying him around in a limo driver with armed security. It's treatment we give to former presidents. We're treating him like a former president, which is crazy and obscene. Hopefully, the Trump administration will stop that on day one. But I also will send to the new Attorney General a criminal referral. We sent it twice to Merrick Garland. In that criminal referral, we recount his testimony, but then we also juxtapose his private emails with his testimony. So we accuse him of lying to Congress based on evidence from his own emails. We don't have me accusing him of lying. We have Anthony Fauci corroborating that he lied by his private emails contradicting his public testimony. We will send those again. But I think most important, if we don't ever get to a criminal prosecution, even more important is that history examines and history rewards and puts him in a pile of malefactors who basically were responsible in many ways for the pandemic.
That sounds good. Obviously, we're never going to get Anthony Fauci behind bars, at least I don't think, but at least we might get something. And we got something else. We got something that it happened last night. Trump's pick for DEA chief was a disaster. As you know, I've liked most of Trump's picks. Some have been meh, but his pick for DEA is awful. Well, was awful in every way. Brianna Morello joined us yesterday, kind of laid it all out pretty clearly.
This person, if you're a fan of like DEI hiring practices, your sheriff hanging out at the LGBT, whatever gatherings these days, or having pastors arrested, this is your guy. That's exactly what his resume actually says. So like I said, during the COVID pandemic, he did have a pastor arrested. Now that pastor is saying, oh, I've forgiven him, but that's not the point. The point is that he went out there, had a pastor arrested for holding service, and then touted it like he was doing some reckless deed. It's insane. Obviously, there was a lot of backlash due to all of that. So he's apologized. They've become friends again. So they're all like back to being normal. But you don't want someone to cross that line. The red line that I'm referring to is the U.S. Constitution. Okay, he had no right to do this as sheriff. I don't care what order existed at the time. Not going to overturn the Constitution just because you're a little afraid of an unknown virus that's going around. So that's the big point to all of this. He also, and this is the even, I guess, sadder part to all of this, he also emptied out his jail. Now, he said it was nonviolent offenders, but ultimately what happened was an individual who's being held in that jail went on to actually committing murder after he was released. Now, he allegedly did murder a suspect and had to be, obviously brought back into the jail. But he doesn't talk about any of this. He ignores it all. Now, again, like I mentioned earlier, he's a fan of the LGBTQ parades. He actually has his deputies go and he attends himself and walks in them. And then he also has DEI hiring events. So his focus, he told the local media there, was that diversity is like super important to him right now. And he's really trying to gear up
Ugh.
his sheriff deputies for that. And so that's what he was looking to hire. Yeah. So he's pretty bad all around. Oh, and he's an Obama donor. I almost forgot that one. $15,000 to Obama.
Yeah, that was a terrible pick. Who knows what was going through Trump's head when he picked that guy? Well, because of pressure from you, Donald Trump listened, and Donald Trump bounced that guy last night. The guy voluntarily withdrew, but Trump came out on social media and said he didn't withdraw. I kicked him out because of how he treated my pastors and people I love. All this really, this entire monologue is going to be about you, about the very good things you can do with your voice, with social media now. Donald Trump listens when people talk on social media. And no, it's not just people with big platforms like here on this show. Every single one of us has a role to play. And the outrage over Chad Chronister was heard loud and clear on social media, and Chad Chronister will, in a small way, pay for his COVID crimes, cost him his dream job because of you. And so with that, I'm going to ask you to do something else, because our voice on social can be used to stop bad people from rising to positions where they don't really belong. And our voice can be used to prop people up who need our help. And I'm here to tell you right now, Pete Hegseth needs your help. Pete Hegseth is going to be, hopefully, the next SecDef, the next Secretary of Defense. But I'm telling you right now, it has become an uphill battle. The deep state, the swamp, whatever, the blob, whatever word you want to use for it, they are trying everything in their power to stop Pete Hegseth from taking over the reins of the multi-trillion-dollar defense industry in this country. Can you even imagine how much corruption is there, how many evil deeds are there? The Pentagon failed audits 7 years in a row. This is a criminal organization now. Pete Hegseth wants to reform it, wants to clean it up. And that's why every single day you open up the New York Times and there's a new smear campaign about this allegation or that allegation. None of it solid, none of it valid at all, but they are doing everything in their power to try to stop Pete Hegseth, and it's going to work unless we help. Pete Hegseth, to his credit, is standing tall. Sounds good. But we don't need Pete Hegseth to stand tall. We need senators to stand tall. GOP senators. I'm not worried about Pete Hegseth. I'm worried about Lindsey Graham. I'm worried about a lot of people in the GOP Senate who will be intimidated by the New York Times, or maybe they are just as compromised as many evil Democrats by the evil defense industry in this country. Maybe, just maybe, there are a lot of Republican senators who have vested financial interests in keeping the scam going. So what do? Well, remember, politicians, for the most part, are not leaders, they are followers. They lick their finger and they stick it in the air and they see which way the wind is blowing. So I need you to start blowing. I need you to get Pete Hegseth your support, vocally, publicly. Maybe you're sitting there saying to yourself right now, I'm just whatever, fill in the blank. People love to talk themselves down that way. Jesse, I can't, I'm just a housewife. I'm just a construction worker. I'm just a this, I'm just a kid, I'm just an old man. No. All of us together, rallied together, every voice mattered, and we won an election in November. Now, all of us together, again, need to rally behind Pete Hegseth. And maybe you're one of the people out there, maybe the allegations give you the ickies. Maybe that doesn't feel good. Well, let me explain something to you. Whatever you may think about Pete Hegseth personally, we have to change the military now. The communists have not been destroying our military. They have been building our military for years, building a different one for a different enemy, and it is not a foreign one. Believe me when I tell you, they didn't kick out the unvaccinated because they were worried about COVID-19. They kicked out the unvaccinated because they were the least likely to comply with very evil orders. They didn't fill up the military with gays and trannies and every other kind of DEI hire crap just for funsies. They did it because they understood the type of person who would fire upon you if ordered to do so. The United States military is being taken over by communists for the purpose of attacking American citizens. If you think that's over the top or ridiculous, I would invite you to open a single history book. It's what every evil communist has done in every single country they have ever taken power. We would be the exception if it didn't happen here. We must clean the filth out of the military before we are a country run by the military. Do you know what happened in South Korea? Maybe you didn't hear. The South Korean president declared martial law. Their legislature, their National Assembly, we'll just call it their Congress, got together and voted it down. Absolutely not. We won't have martial law. But guess what? They do have martial law. And do you know why they have martial law? Why? It was voted down. Vote this is what the South Korean military said. The military stood with the president, and martial law it is. On a long enough timeline, reforming the United States military might be the only thing that matters. All that may have made you uncomfortable, but I am right. I would thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, but I know how brilliant it is, and I know you love it here. So subscribe and watch. We're going to start really ramping things up and putting some funny stuff, some interesting stuff out there, some collaborations. Either way, my YouTube channel is officially the place to be. So stick around.